So we're entering a time, if you've been watching and looking, of extreme scarcity that heralds the coming of the final week. It is so bad that Europe has now become alarmed enough to start wargaming a food crisis. Governments of the European Union are engaged in war games which simulate and foresee a global food crisis. Why? Because we're having one right now. A mix of major factors, including the Russia-Ukraine war and impact on grain supplies there, as well as weather events like El Nino and La Nina and their impact on the Latin American soy output, and the anti-EU farmers' protests which have disrupted supermarket supply chains, cause for alarm, European officials say. They're not even talking about supply chain attacks such as those taking place in America and other places. Of course, there's the example of how drastically a pandemic can interfere with supply chain. Panic buying was a trend and constant fear in the early months of the coronavirus crisis. Toilet paper, panic buying food, stocking up on supplies. Below are some of the scenarios they put together. Right, so these are their scenarios. Number 1, harvest failure. It's 2025, there are more harvest failures. They impact animal feed prices, which curbs livestock and fish production. Some ships carrying crops turn away from Europe to cater to higher bidders. Right? They're telling you what's coming. Palm oil exports cut. Asia's palm oil export limits are now reducing supplies of daily staples from margarine to bread. Allegations of corporate greed, disinformation, and conspiracy theories are spreading. Don't listen to the truth. Fertilizer crisis. The cost of fertilizers and energy needed to grow crops and keep glasshouses running soared in the wake of Russia's invasion of Ukraine. Unrest in the street as shortages hit locally. Things unravel further late into 2025. Thieves are looting supermarkets, happening already. Police struggle to contain riots spreading through cities already. People in Germany can't find fish and meat at grocery stores. Livestock farmers go bankrupt. Popular anger targets elites and corporations. Meanwhile, the public's focus shifts to profiteering by commodity traders. Small farms fall like dominoes. Attacks on immigrants begin to become widespread. Is the EU a sinking ship? Someone asks. As for solutions, conference participants were told, or rather took it as an assumption, that populations would have to be weaned off their meat and onto the bugs. This is all the plan. They see the problem because they've created most of the problem and they can see it spiraling out of control, and we're entering a possible period of about 7 years of famine and extreme shortages. Why are they not stressed? Because they have a lot and they have their bunkers and they have their extra supplies, and they're not worried because they want depopulation to play its role, and they can see how this all factors into the new world order of a more controllable, smaller population size group across the world, living in smart cities, controlled with the chip and doing as they're told. Interesting that they're now seriously and focused out in the open wargaming these end-time scenarios. We are really close for all of those who haven't been watching. Shalom.